Hello everyone, welcome to the r/Indieheads podcast. I'm your host, Matty, aka Recon IG. On this week's podcast we have...
Ethan, Eon997 on Reddit.
Josiah, Wild Imp on Reddit.
User Will for Thrill.
Charlie, Yellow Hat B on Reddit.
Gabe, Lower Frequencies on Reddit.
So if you guys do know, we have, three new cast members this week. We have Josiah, this is his first podcast. I think he did one, but we must have not released it because the quality wasn't good.
We did. It was, bad quality and didn't ever happen. I liked it, though.
And of course, we have Charlie and Gabe, who are a part of the Cymbal team. So, yay!
Yeah.
So, Charlie and Gabe, what do you guys do at Cymbal?
So I'll start. I'm focusing on Cymbal is like figure out sort of how it exists in the world. So the team right now is Gabe, who's the iOS developer. We got Amadou, who's our backend developer. We've got Sam, who does web development, and then we've got Mario, who does design. So there's this really great team of dudes who are making an incredible product. And the thing I'm sort of thinking about is, okay, so who should be on this? How do we grow it? How do people sort of learn about it? So my title is head of growth, but I think that sort of encompasses a bunch of different things.
You do a lot of things. But yeah, like Charlie said, I do iOS development, and I started Cymbal with Amadou and Mario, who unfortunately can't be here right now. But we quickly knew that Charlie was the missing link and the one that would project us into success. So
we put a ring on it.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming on the podcast and joining us to talk about, music and whatnot. Anyways, I guess I'll go first on what we've been listening to this week. So I've listened to a few albums this week. The first one being Travis Scott, Rodeo. So let's see, going with this album, Al Pharaoh, which was his first mixtape. I listened to it when it came out. I thought it was garbage. I thought it was one of the worst mixtapes I ever listened to. I was like, why do people like this? This is terrible. Then I listened to his second mixtape, Days Before Rodeo, and I'm like, okay, why is he good? Like, why is this good? Why do I like this? Just a complete 180 to me with Travis. Like, okay, I think I like him now. And, this new album, Rodeo, pretty much just confirms that 180 of, like, this is a really solid, impressive album. The production is incredible throughout, thanks to guys like Metro Boomin, Sonny Digital, Wonder Girl, Kanye has a production credit on here. Let's see, Alan Ritter, is that his name? I don't know. But again, production is just, like, crazy throughout. And Travis has improved as a rapper. Lyrics-wise, it's like, but, like, he has enough charisma and he's enough of a presence on these songs where it's like, I enjoy listening to these songs because of Travis. Where before it was like, I just want to hear the features, because usually his features come through and do, like, some great stuff. And the features on here, by the way, are incredible, let's see, Young Thug. I usually don't like Young Thug, but whenever he hops on more, like, kind of experimental and more gritty beats, kind of like stuff he's done with Travis, or that Jamie XX song, that's where he really shines when he's not doing these generic trap songs. And of course Justin Bieber comes through with just probably the surprise verse of the year. Jesus Christ, that was just, it's like I get right now he's kind of doing because that Jack U song was really big, and his new single is, I think it was produced by Skrillex. But it's like, okay, why I like what you're doing right now, Justin, but like you could definitely be the white Drake and do really well. But yeah, also
Bugatti
Biebs, gotta represent. I've been repping Bugatti Biebs since like Journals, man. That's where it was like, okay, this guy actually can be really, really good. You guys just have to give him a shot and look past all these douchebaggery that he's done.
Yeah, he has definitely sounded recently to be pretty apologetic about the way that he acted in the last couple of years. You guys see him on the Jimmy Fallon show?
Yes, I did see a clip where he was kind of talking about he was around the wrong people. It just seems like he seems like a better guy right now. I also watched some of the roast, and I think there was a really good joke by Hannibal Buress, which is like, it's probably true, but like at the same time it's like, at least he's. I think it was something along the line, like, just to kind of paraphrase it, was something along the lines of like, thanks for having me on in this, extremely transparent attempt to make yourself more likable in the public.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah,
that's kind of true. But, it's like, I don't really care. He's making good music now, which is fine by me. But yeah, this album is really great, and like just seeing some of the critical acclaim it's gotten from certain people, like the needle drop, he gave it like a strong 8. I was like, what? I was just completely like, okay, he goes from like hating Travis Scott to like loving this album. It just, it's definitely like, I think people, if you don't like Travis Scott, like this is the album, like, okay, this may change your mind. If not, you probably won't like Travis Scott ever, unless he becomes a better rapper. But yeah, anyways, also the other album I listened to was Animal Collective Strawberry Jam. So some people on the podcast are very big fans of Animal Collective. Let's see, Arthi and Sarah. I think Jeremiah really loves Animal Collective, and I've been trying to get into them lately just because like they have an album coming out probably next year, and it's like, okay, I should probably get ahead and jump on the Anko train. And I have been enjoying the stuff I've been listening to. I've been listening mostly Strawberry Jam and Feels lately. And both those albums are incredible. Avi Terror is just a monster, with his vocals and just, really conveying emotion where it's like, this stuff is really fucking heavy. And of course the production's incredible, with, the mixture of electronics and, guitars and all these, crazy instruments where it's like, wow, this is just a really crazy fusion and it really, really works. It's like, a mad scientist at work, or, for a mad scientist at work, But yeah, I really enjoyed this, Strawberry Jam. I'm still going through their back catalog a little bit, so probably listen to Feels a bit more. I'll probably listen to Spirit They've Gone, Spirit They Vanished. I think I listened to it once and it scared me because the harsh noise segments, which I don't like, where it's just like, it's like, okay, I can't do it. No.
Oh yeah, sounds like it's gonna break your eardrums.
Yeah, so and I enjoy noisy stuff, but not like that stuff that's straight up noise music. I like noise elements, but something like Merzbow, I can't do it. But yeah,
I was recently in the record store, and I was going through the new new records. No, just like new incomings to the store.
Okay.
Or whatever you want. And there was just this one that was just an anus. And guess what? What artist that was? Merzbow.
Yay!
The one and only. I was really I was tempted to buy it just to hear what the hell it was.
You mean like the name of the album was Anus, or the album cover was an anus?
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear about the nature of the anus. It was the album cover was just a picture of an anus.
That's wow.
Just like the Sear back cover.
By the way, the Sear back cover is a dog anus, pretty much.
But this looks like human. This looks very human.
Ah.
Not that I know what a human anus looks like, but if I had to guess,
discern like what.
There wasn't much hair. There wasn't much hair around it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's pretty disgusting. I'll leave it at that. But I was fascinated by it at the same time.
How did this come up? I don't even.
Matty brought up Merzbow.
I mentioned because harsh noise like Merzbow.
Oh, okay. Like, yeah. I was lost there for a minute.
I just try to bring up anuses whenever I can.
Speaking of album covers, though, I've always loved Strawberry Jam, but I've just been so grossed out by that album cover. Every time it shows up, I'm just like, ugh.
I don't like it very much either.
Yeah, it's very aesthetically unpleasing.
But
it probably tastes great.
Well, it exists within a larger canon of artists using food to like not seem food-like, and I think one band that's doing that in an interesting way is Battles.
Oh yeah, I was mention that.
Right, so Battles, when they put out Ice Cream, the single cover for Ice Cream is like it that it's ice cream, but it almost looks like I don't know, like coral or something. It's crazy. And then
like that silly string stuff, like you buy it at like dollar stores.
Yeah, exactly.
It really doesn't look like it. I mean, I don't think it is ice cream, like the actual.
No, I mean, who knows? Who knows? But and then they just put out, what was the new single they just put out where it's kind of beautiful actually.
Yeah, it's
like
really
a
cool.
foot-long hot dog with like spaghetti on it, and then like a dollop of peanut butter, and it looks like abstract art or something like that, but it's food.
My favorite artist who incorporates food is Patrick Carney's Instagram, where he just posts his pictures of like gelatin-based foods that look, and just random. He just basically posts pictures of not Caitlyn Jenner, but pictures of Caitlyn Jenner pre sex change, and Hulk Hogan and gelatin foods. It's very confusing.
Speaking of weird indie artist Instagram, Father John Misty, what is wrong with that man on Instagram?
Oh, I don't follow.
Posting, like, stock photos and... Wait, what were you gonna say?
Oh, lately he's just been going crazy with those stock art captions.
And I'm like,
well,
okay,
that makes sense. It's like that's kind of his thing, like bored in the USA, right? It's all just like
really dark humor,
fakeness and stuff like that, you know.
But anyways, what have you been listening to, Josiah, to get onto the next person, because we're getting a little off topic.
Totally. I've been listening to Talking Heads, Remain in Light, and I feel like a lot has been said about this album. But, you know, pop punk with kind of a nervousy feel.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean,
that's
punk pop.
I'm sorry.
I feel like punk pop is the proper...
No. Pop. Yeah, not punk. I mean, it's punk in the same way. It's like... early.
Like the Talking Heads, like the 70s.
It's not dancey punk.
Yeah, dancey.
But yeah, and it's got like the African rhythms and all that. I like it. It's just kind of, I don't have to say too much about it. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite albums. And then I found on the subreddit Art Vinyl.
Sorry, Josiah.
I noticed that too.
Who's making that noise? Sounds like a rapper or something.
I don't think
someone is crinkling something into their microphone. I would ask you to please stop.
Not sure.
There it goes. Oh no.
It goes.
Apologize to our listeners. Oh, okay, it's gone. Okay, Jose. Okay, anyways, keep going. What were you gonna say?
I was like a week or two on the subreddit Art Vinyl, and I found someone posted an album that I just liked the cover of, because it was like parodying an old 50s jazz cover, but it's called Music to Make Love to Your Old Lady By, and it's by Lovage, which is a combination of a bunch of people. It's Dan the Automator making the beats, Mike Patton and Jennifer Charles on vocals, and then Kid Koala on the turntables. And it's like a trip hop kind of concept album that I just think is like both funny and interesting. And like the production and the sampling on it, I really, really like. And the album just kind of almost sounds like sex. It's kind of overt and gimmicky about it. Like it just lets you know up front, but it does sound like sex. And I've been enjoying it a lot.
Nice. Let's see, Ethan, what have you been listening to, buddy?
I've been really busy with my start of school, but I've been trying to fit in some music here and there. I finally gave in and like, fuck it, I'll listen to the Glow Part 2, because I've been really intimidated by his discography, because it's just so fucking long between the Microphones, Mount Erie, and it's such a varied experimental career that it's hard to like pick out things. So, and usually when I listen to artists, I don't like to go in just and listen to an album. I like to like kind of go through listen to singles and stuff from their discography, get a feel for what they listen to or what they sound like. But this time I'm going a bit more what other people do. I'm just like, I'm going to listen to this album. And I was really blown away by it. What I really like about it, how he's able to combine folk elements and like noise rock almost elements. I wouldn't call it noise rock, but something along.
He definitely has a lot of noisy elements, and like he even has some like black metal influences on his.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely an eclectic songwriter.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. The Moon is probably my favorite track from this, because that's like his. I don't know, just it's kind of. I love the horns on that with the really distorted guitar. I think that's incredibly beautiful. But yeah, he's. His sense of arrangement is just fantastic. He knows, like, every time you want distortion, it comes, and if you want something to sound very soft and acoustic sounding, he does it. Like he knows how to make what the listener wants from the music. Like I love the new Chelsea Wolfe album, but but with her earlier stuff, I feel like she'll do like a bunch of softer stuff and it won't build up to anything, and that kind of frustrated me with her earlier stuff, but I still like it. But what I think Phil Elverum, is that who he's? Yeah, Phil Elverum does is he always knows when to go distorted, to go quiet, and just he has a really good sense of dynamics. The second thing I listened to was William Basinski's Disintegration Loops 1. I was home Friday night, and obviously Friday night was 9/11, and obviously awful event in our history. I don't want to talk about it too much. I want to talk more about the music, but obviously the reason I listened to it was to commemorate the people who passed away on that day and the subsequent wars that were fought supposedly because of that. So just a lot of death and sadness and awful things, and this that are surround this. But I think it's still in. Okay, I fell off in that sentence. I'm kind of spiraling here with all the awful things that surround this, but I do want to just talk about the music. It's really hard to talk about the music with this album because it's so related to the 9/11 imagery. But I'm going to try. So basically, for those of you who don't know somehow, the disintegration loops are basically a single piece of tape slowly disintegrating and getting worse and worse in sound quality, and it's used. And there is some use of like digital effects, I think, or analog effects to make it sound more echoey and stuff. But it's something I don't really get into ambient music much, but I found this to be very beautiful and soothing, but also very dark, and it had this sinister edge to it. I'm kind of rambling here. It's really hard to talk about this, and so much has been said about it. Because like you want to talk about the politics surrounding it, you want to talk about the tragedy that surrounds it, but you also want to just talk about it in the music. And I'm going to give up now.
It's a really fascinating record, actually. I mean, so sort of the term, thinking of it in the context of like the history of contemporary classical music. It's like a fascinating example of how process is so important. So I think the thing that William Basinski did with the record was that he made those loops like 10 or 15 years prior and then had left them in a drawer and forgotten about them. And so what you're listening to when you're listening to the record is you're listening to these kind of gorgeous loops that he made that simply the only thing that's happened to the record is that, or rather to the music, is that the you're hearing the sound of age on them. So they distort and they warp and they crackle and they, as the record goes on, they kind of explode. And I think you're right to say that it's fascinating record to listen to in commemorating 9/11. It's like almost like a soundtrack to it or something. It's fascinating.
It's really hard. The thing I have so much trouble with, which is what I think you mentioned this, is how magnificent. Did you use the word magnificent?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that I think that's a really good word. It's just really large and intimidating, magnificent, almost royal in its sound, and it's so big. I mean, I think that's just a good way to put it. It's the meaning behind it is big. The sound is big. It's long. That's my review. It's big.
Yeah, it's big.
Will, what did you listen to?
All right. Well, I one of my blind spots in modern music is the Beatles discography. I've never really, obviously I've heard a lot of their songs, obviously just being a human, and I've listened to compilations and stuff. I never really listened to any of their albums. So I finally after hearing Sgt. Pepper a few weeks ago and being blown away, I've been kind of like going through their discography. And this week I was listening to Rubber Soul a lot. And of course, I mean, there's not a whole lot I can say about the music of this album, and it's a very important moment in the Beatles' history because it represents the end of Beatlemania and the beginning of their more artistic phase. And the Rubber Soul and the subsequent albums by the Beatles are definitely the reason why they're still so beloved and why they're the most famous rock band in history and not just a flash in the pan. And obviously, and another thing about it is that, like, instead of having just single power, like, not only the Beatles' other albums before that, but just all of pop music was pretty much just single-oriented before that. For Rubber Soul was one of the first albums that ever actually utilized the entire track listing before. So, I mean, obviously, like Matty knows it inspired Pet Sounds.
Yep, I know that for sure. Pet Sounds, great sound ever made. Brian Wilson in his prime is better than any Beatle. I will stand by that.
We're not talking about him right now, though. But anyways, my turn. No, but yeah. Anyways, just for all those reasons, I definitely have. Even though it's not my favorite Beatles album and it's not most people's favorite, I'd probably say this is maybe the most important pop album of the second half of the 20th century. I definitely think there's a strong argument for that, just because of what it meant in the Beatles' discography, and therefore pop music. And then another album. Are we gonna have any agreeers or naysayers?
I would somewhat agree, except Pet Sounds. I think just kind of. I mean,
there's several other albums just in that short period. Like Velvet Underground and Nico, and then there's obviously the Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath came along soon after, and Pink Floyd. I mean, like, I'm not going to argue this is the best album, but it's definitely very, very important.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying it's influential. It's very influential. But I think there's other Beatles albums that like you said, there's probably better Beatles albums, Sgt. Pepper's and Revolver, but this album still was sort of like that laid the groundwork for certain pop albums that like it would go on. It helped. It wasn't the main inspiration behind Pet Sounds because Brian was already halfway through Pet Sounds before he heard Rubber Soul, but but still it did play a huge influence on Pet Sounds, which would go on to be Pet Sounds would go on to be one of the most influential pop albums ever made. So,
right.
I mean, again, because Rubber Soul inspired Pet Sounds, and then Pet Sounds inspired Sgt. Pepper's, and then Sgt. Pepper's inspired a bunch of other records.
Right. Just the list goes on and on. Just because the Beatles were the zeitgeist at the time.
Yeah, of course.
So definitely important. And the other album I've been listening to this week is the Songs from the Black Hole demos by Weezer, and I know definitely me and Ethan know about it. We're pretty big Weezer fans, but basically after Weezer's debut, the Blue Album, Rivers Cuomo was originally working on the follow-up to be Songs from the Black Hole, which was supposed to be a rock opera that kind of detailed his dissatisfaction with his newfound fame and just the rock star lifestyle, kind of through like a metaphor of a space traveler. And he goes through all his love life and everything. And but he ended up ditching that and going with Pinkerton as the follow-up, which people also love. But Songs from the Black Hole is still quite good, even though it's hard to really know because it never really got finished and mastered never had a finalized track listing or anything, so we can't really say how good it would have been. But it's definitely, if nothing else, the songwriting is still up there with Blue and Pinkerton for sure. Well, and a lot of Pinkerton's a lot of Pinkerton songs are written during the sessions for Songs from the Black Hole, or just repurposed. So, I mean, he was basically in the same place when he made this one.
I think Pinkerton's its track list was almost chronological and around, I think, Across the Sea. That was when he moved to college and he got obsessed with the Madame Butterfly opera and did that more abrasive songwriting.
That's another thing about this one, is that it's not really doesn't really have the same structure as a rock opera. It has more of a structure of an actual opera, because that's what Rivers was listening to at the time. It has multiple characters and has kind of segues and stuff like that. It's definitely not like the Who or Pink Floyd's rock operas.
Totally.
And a lot of people like to contemplate what if this had been Songs from Black Hole had been made instead of Pinkerton? And I honestly, I don't think it would have really changed much, because of the play, whether or not they would have continued making good music or what. Because I honestly think this album probably would have been received even worse than Pinkerton, just because it definitely does have. I said it's definitely not as poppy as Blue Album. It's even more bizarre than Pinkerton. So I think the end result would have been the same, but still, it's more it's more '90s Weezer that we have here. So overall, it's a good thing.
Will, which version did you listen to? I think that's important.
I have I got this one on SoundCloud that's 22 tracks, but I've repurposed it to look more like the second track listing. But I've listened to all the demos.
I would listen to I I have found one from the depths of the internet that has, I think, 26 tracks. That I'm looking at. Let me see. Yeah, 20 or 24, and I would highly recommend it. I won't tell you where to find it, but I think you can figure that out. But yeah, it's I don't actually know if I've listened to the whole thing. I've listened to the majority of it, and I've listened to all the demos because I've listened to all the Weezer B-sides.
Right.
Or
A lot of these are on Pinkerton Deluxe Edition. Most of
what's the other thing?
The Alone albums.
Yeah, the 3 different Alone albums, which are all fantastic, except the last one.
Well, it wasn't released to general public because you had to buy some there's some biography or some. I don't remember exactly. There's some deluxe version. It costs $80. It's confusing, but
the last one, there's only one song worth listening to, but it's a fantastic song and everyone should listen to it. Let me see if I can't find it. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna keep talking so there's no dead air because that's always bad. Listen to Lisa on Alone 3. That's a great song. Otherwise, Alone 3 isn't worth getting, but Alone 1 and 2 are both fantastic.
Isn't Alone 2 the album cover where he has that really stupid fucking hair?
Yes.
Is it Alone 1? Okay.
But it's kind of a homage to just because he was a metalhead in the 80s, kind of he was into hair metal. His favorite band was Kiss.
Oh god.
So, if you haven't listened to Mark Maron's interview with Rivers, it's an incredible interview. It's one of my favorite musician interviews. I mean, kind of like we were talking about with what's it called? Mike Kroll talking about how the reason why he likes Weezer so much is because they were normal dudes. Yeah.
Rivers was never super patrician or anything like that. He was a regular guy that listened.
He was getting into Sonic Youth by the time.
But still, he was pretty ordinary.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt real quick, guys, with something that's kind of irrelevant? I'm looking at my. You guys know what time hop is, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm looking through my time hop. 6 years ago today, I said Kanye West sucks. You're a rude SOB.
I agree.
Shut up, Will. I just saw that on my time hop, and I'm like, God damn it! I was such a fucking idiot 6 years ago.
So, Charlie, what did you?
Yeah, Charlie, who's good?
Well, so I've been listening to all kinds of different stuff this week. The 2 records I think that I've been listening to the most, been thinking about the most. The first one is a record called Talking Timbuktu, which is a record made by Ali Farka Toure and Cooder. So for folks who maybe don't know who those 2 people are, Ali Farka Toure is was a blues guitar player from Mali. There's a kind of incredible history of blues guitar playing, especially in Mali. And he had been making records for a lot of years. An amazing record he made is his first record, his self-titled record, which sounds a whole lot like like Muddy Waters or Lightning Hopkins. But it's got this different character to it. I think that one of the things that you hear a lot in American blues music is the specific 12-bar chord change. But the thing that you hear in African blues music is it stays on the 1 chord for a long time. So he's been making these records for a long time. Separately, Cooder is one of the greatest guitarists to ever live. In addition to being an incredible guitarist, he's sort of an active musicologist. So he's the guy who made the Buena Vista Social Club album. And the way he did it was he was aware that there was this incredible group of Cuban musicians who had made jazz music 50 years prior. And so he traveled to Cuba and recorded them. Made a document that he could bring back to the States to demonstrate how great they were. He did the same thing with Ali Farka Toure, who went to Mali and made a record with Ali Farka Toure in a full band, and it's just an incredible record. It feels very much like an Ali Farka Toure album. It's got these gorgeous sort of droning guitar parts and vocals, but Cooder brings this unbelievable kind of academic versatility to the record. So as track to track, he'll play like a blues guitarist, or he'll play like a Spanish guitarist, or he'll play like an African guitarist. He'll bring all kinds of different styles to the table. It's a really gorgeous record, and it is like the perfect record to listen to at like 4 o'clock on like a really 4 or 5 o'clock late summer, like where the light is really red and orange, and like you're cutting up tomatoes or something like that. It just like has got great fucking vibes. It's amazing. It was a record that my mom really got me into. And if I were gonna recommend 2 tracks off that record, there's one called Sukura, which is a beautiful song and has an incredible lead guitar part on it that almost sounds like it's I don't know, almost like it's like Central American music. And then there's another song on there called Amandrai, which has just an incredible guitar solo, like a fantastic guitar solo. So definitely check that record out. I've been listening to that album a lot. It's a great late summer record. And then the other record I was listening to a lot this week, which is, it's maybe a little misleading to say that I've listened to it a lot this week, because I probably have listened to it a lot like for the past 8 years, is Voodoo by D'Angelo, which is one of my favorite records ever. And I guess I would say that I've been listening to it in particular a lot this week because I moved into a new apartment, and so I have been sort of making it feel a little like home. I've been listening to a bunch of my favorite records and sort of getting situated. So that's my 2. Yeah, definitely check out Talking Timbuktu, and then if you don't know Voodoo, man, it's a classic.
Yeah.
So Gabe, you're up, buddy.
I'm up. Yeah, so I'll start with Beach House's Depression Cherry. I know you guys talked a lot about this last time, but
Yeah.
I'll just give my quick thoughts. I'm I guess one of those like crazy obsessed Beach House fans. I just like love everything they've done, and I love this album. They might be my favorite band. I'm not sure.
Oh god.
That was me. I'm sorry.
We're good.
No problem.
Okay. Save that for after the podcast.
But I think like songs like Levitation and Sparks and PPP are just beautiful, and I think that they did a really good job on this album of like encapsulating a certain emotion that they're trying to show off, which is this depression that they are trying to explain to the world, I think. And it goes with the album cover, which is just that red, that like sea of red, and I think that the whole album does a good job of I don't know, showing that off, and I just think it's beautiful. And I guess the reason I've been listening to it so much is that I don't know, I find that like I'm on shuffle, and I'm those times you're like playing shuffle and you're just like this song is good, but it's not really what I want to listen to right now, and then I just always come back to this album, and that's really what I've been doing.
Gabe, I've been listening to that record too, actually, a bunch, Gabe. I think one of the things that I'm enjoying most about that record is like the kind of enduring relationship between Victoria Legrand and I'm blanking on the name of the guitar player.
Alex Scally, yeah.
Like I just record after record they find more and more stuff to do, and I think like PPP, that song, like that kind of like waltzing guitar line at the end of it, I just think is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I just like where the fuck do they get all this stuff? Like it's incredible. So I don't know. I'm enjoying it a lot also.
Yeah. I'm one of the people that are less fond of this record in comparison to the other recent albums, but I think that PPP might be the best song they've ever made.
So good.
It's a very incredible song.
I'm one of the people that are more fond of it.
I feel like they're not doing the most complex things, and their songs are, like 4 chords or something like that, but they have a certain vibe that I think is just beautiful,
Totally. Space Song is like a culmination of everything they've done, and I love it.
I think
See, that's weird. That's weird to me because like I think there's a part of this album that I don't like that much. Like I think I love like the beginning and I love the end, but I don't like if my one complaint about it would be like those 3 songs in the middle that don't get to me as much. It's weird because I've heard everyone loves like Space Song and Beyond Love, but those are like my least favorite songs on the album, which is I don't know why.
The end is definitely what hurts the album for me. Those last 3 songs, personally.
What hurts the. Hold on, let me see. I'm doing this terrible thing where I'm not prepared at all.
You just come in.
I'm just like, yeah, and then I take 5 seconds to look something up. No, I actually
from the hip.
Yep. I actually found. I know you were okay. We're talking about. Are you? No, not.
Yeah.
Gabe, you were talking about how much you loved PPP, and I didn't actually love it. I thought I loved the ending and the beginning, but from 1037 to Wildflower, I thought it was kind of eh. So like I think there's. I don't know. There's a lot of varying opinions. I don't think anyone really dislikes this album, but I feel like everyone has some problem with it, but everyone's problem is very different.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've like a lot of mixed things, you know. Like some people love it, some people are not.
I don't think there's anyone that actively dislikes it though, which is good.
Oh no, I don't dislike it. I just like it.
Yeah, I mean same thing here. I just have like little nitpicks. I think Beach House could have done better.
It's so interesting to hear you guys say that because I write like a music newsletter, just like a tiny letter thing, and I put that song PPP. What the newsletter is like 10 best songs every month, and the thing that I wrote about PPP, which I put on last month's one, was that I don't know anybody who doesn't like Beach House. Like I know a lot of people who have like individual problems with Beach House, you know, or like say, oh, this record wasn't that strong, or I think that's overrated. But it's like I don't know anybody. Maybe it's just like who I run with or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know who. It's funny. They have like an appeal or something like that. That is like a little universal feeling.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm generally someone who listens to the more rock side of indie music, but like I still can really get, and I it's not like I don't listen to shoegaze and what's the
Dream Pop.
No, not Dream Pop, the chill wave or whatever. Dream Pop, yeah, sure, Dream Pop. And like all that stuff, but I feel like Beach House just has this universal appeal to even someone who likes generally more rock stuff or harder stuff. And I don't know why that is though, because they are very soft and atmospheric. So you feel
I don't
like
them at all at first, just because of how atmospheric they were. Because I'm kind of like you in my tastes, but over time, like I just kind of listening to it more and more, it just kind of gets under your skin and just kind of learn to love it.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot there there's a lot hidden in it, which is interesting, but it's also quite hypnotic. So I think if you listen to the music a lot, after a while, you end up sort of entranced by it.
Yeah, I've always felt that they have like spoken to me in some weird way, which I think is what a lot of people would say who love Beach House, just that they get at a certain emotion in you, and like it doesn't matter how slow or trancey the songs are, you know.
Do you want to? We should probably.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's not your fault.
So my second album is this new album by Angel Deradoorian. Do you know, Charlie? Do you know if I'm saying that right?
You got it right, Deradoorian. Yeah, you're doing great.
It's hard.
It's a lot of letters.
But it's funny because like I heard a lot of people talking about this album, and I had no idea who she was. And then I listened to it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But then I realized that she is one of the keyboardist and singer in Dirty Projectors. And that kind of like weirdly changed my whole opinion of it, and I started to like it so much more, which is kind of weird to say that just because like she's in another band, like I started to like it more, but it brought all the feelings I have of Dirty Projectors to this album, and I started to just realize how amazing she is, and also how amazing Dirty Projectors are. And I've been watching a lot of live performances of both her and Dirty Projectors, and it's kind of like, I almost want to say it's the opposite of Beach House in that it's so intricate and there's so much going on in every song, and it all comes together so well. And you guys should definitely check out this video of her playing the song "A Beautiful Woman" because she does so many cool things with like a looping pedal and drums, and the way they use their voices together. It's just like it's so cool. So
I think I talked about this album on the one that we didn't put up because of quality, the Lost podcast.
And, it'll come out in the DVD.
The Lost tapes. But yeah, I liked it a lot too. I think it was a very ambitious debut for her as an LP, and I think it kind of paid off.
Yeah, it's also weirdly like sinister in some aspects and like creepy.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool.
Well, you know what it made me. So it's interesting. So like a lot of themes on that record are like of like this. I don't know, of like uncontrolled organic growth.
Right.
And like I think one of the things that I kept thinking of is, I don't know if you guys read The Life of Pi, but do you remember in Life of Pi?
I'm going to read it during
Saw
the
the movie.
You remember in Life of Pi when like he gets shipwrecked, or at least dreams that he's being shipwrecked on this island that he later discovers is like a giant plant that slowly consumes anyone who's on it. And I don't know, I just kept that image in my head the whole time I was listening to that record, and I felt like the sinisterness you're talking about, Gabe. But I just want to comment on that one thing you said earlier, Gabe, which is like, should you feel conflicted about liking music better when you discover like its larger context? And I think that's like a really interesting question. But I think that's actually a great thing to have happen to you when you're listening to a record, particularly in the case of Deradoorian, who is aside from being an incredibly talented singer and songwriter herself, I think is like a really integral part of what makes the Dirty Projectors fantastic. Yeah. Like her voice is so powerful, and the arrangements that she exists within there are so much of what makes that music awesome. And also, I think if you listen to that record, it feels a lot like the Dirty Projectors, and that's not a mistake. It's because she's a significant part of what makes that band what it is. So I think understanding it contextually kind of maybe gives you both a stronger appreciation both of the album, but also of her, you know, of her input in her other band.
She's also the bassist for A.B. Taylor's solo band and his girlfriend, I think.
Whoa, cool! I didn't know that.
Wow.
But they're dating? Oh, nice. I guess.
Listen to that now.
Yeah, this woman is special. She can do anything.
But okay, yeah, thanks. Well said. What were we talking about the Dirty Projectors thing? Charlie.
Oh, thank you.
Way more articulate than some of us on the podcast sometimes.
I used to work at NPR.
I had you in mind, Ethan. I was like, oh god, I feel really bad.
Today's not my best day.
Don't worry. The last episode we had Ali. He basically had like a panic attack when we went to him. We were like, Ali, so what did you think of the album? He's like,
I heard that.
I think it's so good, and then
like I can't do this.
Let's take it for me.
Charlie, did you work in NPR in DC or somewhere else?
In New York, I worked. They have an office near Bryant Park in New York.
Okay, just wondering.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Speaking of the past and things of that sort, let's go to our main topic, which is interviewing the guys from Cymbal, Gabe and Charlie. Yay!
Yay!
Terrible segue.
We are not moving on from that segue. We're going to analyze that segue for the rest of the podcast. What has happened?
Yay!
3 out of 10 wouldn't segue that good.
Okay. Anyways.
No,
So,
Matt, we're not moving past the segue. Please explain in deep detail about this segue.
You mentioned that Charlie used to work at NPR, and that is in his past. And the first question on this interview is about the past and how did the idea of Cymbal come about, and and making the app. What were your inspirations?
It's a hell of a segue right there. That was a killer segue.
That was an amazing segue.
Beautiful.
So yeah, Ethan, suck it. Anyways, Gabe, can you answer the question, please?
Yeah, Gabe, go for it. This is really a question for you, I think.
Sure. Yeah, well, if I could answer this question in multiple ways.
That's fine.
One way would be, I was laying in bed and then I was just like, I should make this app. But a much more detailed answer would be that in high school, I feel like a lot of high school kids wanted to make a music blog. So what I did was I was like, okay, how could I make my music blog different? Like not just another Pitchfork or, not just I'm going to review albums and stuff like that. And what I came up with was trying to do something really simple but hopefully powerful, which was I would put up just one song a day. And I tried to do it every day. And I just wanted to show off one song and say, hey, this is what I think you should be listening to right now. This is really great. And, the idea was to make it so that people didn't have to search, through endless playlists and all these album reviews and so that it would be much more simple and easier to digest. That was the idea. And the blog was called Lower Frequencies. And I kept it up for 3 years. It still exists, but it's run right now by a friend of mine named Brett. So I don't write for it anymore. But when I made that, after I stopped writing on Lower Frequencies, I think Cymbal kind of came out of that, which was that I still wanted to write and give my one song a day recommendation, but what was missing from that blog was the greater community. It was the feedback and other people sharing their music. So Cymbal kind of is a manifestation of that blog. It allows people to have their page, so to say, their own Lower Frequencies, their page where they can just say, here are the songs that I love right now, and that's all you need. There's just, I think Cymbal is really a simplification of music sharing, because it's so hard to find new music these days just because there's so much information out there. And I thought that it could all just be a little bit easier by boiling it down to, here is the song I'm loving right now, and here are my past songs, and that's really all you need to know. So that's kind of where it came from, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, nice. And so your inspirations were the blog. I think in certain ways with recently, if I think everyone's seen the terrible launch of the Blast FM update. They fell away the website. It just was terrible.
Woof.
I think Cymbal, I think you guys made really good timing on that app. Coincidentally with Last FM kind of going down the drain with this update, where there hasn't been a really good music social network in a long time. I think maybe MySpace was the last one I could think of.
Yep.
Where a lot of bands got big on MySpace.
Well, I thought you were talking about the update. Never mind. Because there was that big attempt at making it into a music social network that completely floundered, except for 5 people and Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. So I think Cymbal, to me, if once you guys expand, I think it could be a really great social, very good music social network. Because Last FM, it was outdated, and this new update they fucked everything up. Honestly, just everything got fucked up. And Cymbal so far, I've been using the app for a month or so now. I've just been really enjoying it. Finding new music and just
my friend.
That's so awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear.
I got my friend on the Cymbal. Shout out to Sam. He'll probably listen to this.
What's up, Sam?
Hey, Sam.
So, and he said he doesn't really do social media because he says he gets addicted to it really easily. And he said he's checking Cymbal every 10 minutes.
That's amazing.
So
How cool is that?
yeah. So, this isn't we didn't write this question down, but it's something I've been thinking about. In terms of this interview, but when it comes to Cymbal, the thing that's happening is that you are getting recommendations from your friends, which is kind of your bubble. And generally, I find myself being friends with people who like the same music. Generally, not obviously, I'm not just friends with people who like the similar music I do, but that's when I. Okay, let me.
That's why we're friends here on the podcast.
Yes. Yeah. But okay, this is what I'm trying to say. How do you plan on integrating music from outside your social bubble, the people you already kind of have similar taste to? How do you?
Yeah, that's an awesome question, because I think so I think you're hitting on something really important. which is that so you can look at the design of Cymbal almost like symbolically, right? Like there's your page, which is the level of what you're into. Then there's the timeline, which is what you're describing, right? Which is people you sort of selected either based on your interest in them personally or your interest in their tastes. And there should be like a third tier, right? Where it's like the world, right? So it's me, people related to me, and then beyond that, but always stay relevant to sort of your interests. And we're like branching into that more and more. Like if you hit the magnifying glass.
Oh yeah, I have been looking into this. It's real. I love the new update, by the way. I thought it was
thank you.
Beautiful.
That's so cool. We think it makes everything make more sense.
Yeah,
Like,
it definitely does.
there's
Not
like
that
a-
it was bad before, but now it's even better.
Well, I think you always got to be improving. You know, I think
Yeah.
that's. But so you hit this button that says recommended, and the thing that it does is it finds people you don't follow whose tastes correlate highly with yours. And that's a fascinating tool, right? Because now you're going to find people who have also posted like Kamasi Washington or Young Thug or whatever. But
I do have one comment though, and it is this is not meant to be negative, but
No,
what's happening is that when I go into that tab, I get like because I posted one I always pronounce it wrong, Sufjan song and one Chelsea Wolfe song and one Carly Rae Jepsen song. And those where all my recommendations are coming from now because those are popular artists right now.
Right.
So like I'm getting to this weird place where like, oh, if I post let's say Mike Kroll, Emperor X, some of these smaller artists, they're not getting these connections.
Right. So I think we're gonna make that a lot better because now it's good, but it could just be so much better. And I think one of the ways we're gonna do it is that we're gonna kind of weigh like smaller artists.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool.
Right. So that way, like, you know, if you post some random band that no one knows and there happens to be that one person that also posts that band, like that should be more of a recommendation than the other person that like posted Carly Rae Jepsen, right?
Right. That tells you more about that person individually.
That is the perfect answer to my question. That I could not have thought of a better answer.
There are like some technical things that we have to do to make that happen, but the recommendation section I know could be so much more like on point, you know, and I think that we wanted to get the feature out there because we like thought it was unique and cool, but as time goes on, we're going to make it a lot better.
That sounds amazing, and I'm super excited for that. Because like, if I find like I posted a Mumbler track, one of my favorite like DIY bands, and if I found out that one guy who likes Mumbler, like in North Dakota, like, and I could find out that would be so cool. Like, that's the perfect way to do it because you get these. Because everyone will post Carly Rae Jepsen because that album is beautiful and popular. But like, if you get you got to get that smaller artist out. That's okay. Right. I like that a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have a question now. One thing I think that's pretty much like an obvious way to grow your company for the app is for you to get celebrities and other artists to be users. Is there anything you're doing to like get bigger names on the app?
Yeah, totally.
Perfect question for Charlie.
Yeah. So the answer is totally yes, because I think that you can sort of think about growing an app like Cymbal like in two ways. Way number one is you do like a lot of press or something like that. You get a lot of attention, and then you get a whole bunch of people on the app. But the problem with that is that if you can add a whole lot of people sort of quickly, but then like it's exactly the thing you're talking about. If the people you're interested aren't on it, if there aren't great bands, or if your friends aren't on it, or none of that, then there's no content for you, and then you never come back. Which is why sort of like our initial focus on the app has not been to like make it like this behemoth, but to make it like we hope the best community in music, to make it the best place on the internet to discover and share new music. So the way we're sort of going about getting bands on the app is it's kind of half an outreach situation, where we're talking to labels and saying, look, this is like kind of an incredible way to get directly from the music to the fans, and part of it has been kind of like a no work situation, which has been pretty cool. We get reached out to a fair amount by labels or by artists who just sort of recognize that this is a useful thing. This kind of awesome thing happened on Friday where we didn't get in contact with anybody, but the band You Blew It. You know the band You Blew It?
I've heard of them. The emo band?
Yeah, the emo band. They're kind of great. They just like no warning really. They just sort of hopped on the app and like started like copying tweets. Sorry, copying symbols into their Twitter. So it's kind of a fascinating thing that people are sort of discovering Cymbal as a tool unto itself. It's a combination of those two things, definitely.
And you've really already got some really cool people. Like you got Fiddler, Level Up, which is a great band.
Domino Records.
A bunch of record labels, yeah, like Run for Cover. What's the other one?
But they're still all very niche, though. Like just because it's so.
And you got the Needle Drop. You got Here Lies Music.
Yeah, Chloe's Grace Moretz, but I haven't seen her post in a long time. Which was going to tie into a question I was going to ask.
I was going to ask about that too. That was the next person I was going to mention. Like, how the hell did that happen?
That is such an insane story.
Well, I mean,
it's like not even a story. It's like we woke up one morning and she was just on the app. She did not contact us. She just started posting stuff to her Twitter. And for us, we're freaking out, because like her Twitter is like 1.5 million people.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden that was totally wild.
And it's super cool because I've always liked her as an actress, like in Hugo and some other stuff. And I was like, oh, but she also has really cool music taste. Like,
doesn't she have great taste? Awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that she hasn't posted in a while. I think the last thing she posted was a song from Doris. And I was going to mention what that was like. Okay, if you do want to like, I guess advice. I guess I'm not sure if it's a question. It's like, if you're going to get artists and you're going to get labels on here, you got to make sure that they are going to consistently post.
Yeah,
it's like you got to make sure they're going to be active users and not just use this as a promotional tool for like a month and then quit it.
Totally. It's a really good point, and it's why, for example, we have like avoided doing any like promotional campaigns, with like an artist or something like that, because we know that that's an easy way to get into like somebody who's going to use an app for like a week and then stop using it.
I do have one question about that, because I noticed when Fiddler's new album came out, it did say on the top, like, check out Fiddler's thing, which is actually super cool because I love Fiddler. Yeah. I like the new album a lot. But I'm wondering, was that a promotion? What was that exactly? Or was it just like, hey, you've posted these bands, you will like Fiddler, you should follow them?
That's a really good question. So I think that we send those notifications, basically the decision we make around those notifications is we decide to send them when somebody joins the app that we think like a lot of people are going to like.
Okay.
So I mean, obviously, you can't generalize, but like when Def Jam joined the app, we thought, okay, a lot of people might be just interested in this. And NPR has a hip hop podcast that got on the app.
Which is super cool.
Which is cool. So we thought, a lot of people might be into this.
Okay.
So generally, just trying to raise the level of people's experience on the app. But I think the thing the thing you alluded to just there, which is, should we send notifications based on people's experience? I think that would be a very cool thing to do as time goes on, like to sort of learn. Okay, these are your preferences, and then when a new user joins the app that you might be kind of into, maybe find a way to tell you about it.
That would be cool.
But we haven't really figured out how that would work yet.
There already are notifications that are helpful, like the ones you were talking about in the Facebook and Twitter friends, and so that's pretty well done, I thought.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, yeah, we should probably go back to some of the other...
we'll continue on the schedule we have on the schedule. So, of course, what are your thoughts so far on some of the reactions to the app? Because so far I've heard nothing but positive reactions to the app.
Yeah, like knock on wood. Wow, like it's been like really cool. People are super enthusiastic about it, and I think the other thing that is really amazing about Cymbal, which is partly by design, by trying to keep the community like among hardcore music fans before we focus on like getting regular folks on it, is that the people on the app right now are like really invested in its success. So we get all of this like all these amazing suggestions from people and like really good support requests. And so I don't know, I just feel like not only are the users really good users, and not only do they love the app, but they also they want it to succeed.
Yeah,
really
I definitely
cool.
feel that. Like even if the app didn't like grow at this point, I do feel like there already is this core community of people who are really passionate about sharing their music, and this is one of the best ways I've found to do that. So like, so you have this passionate fan base, and where they continue to post stuff there, because basically you have people wanting to support the app because they want to share their music and they think it's a good program. So you have this kind of self-supporting fan, because you're like, I want these people to see what I post. So if more people are on the app, more people will see what I post. So it's like the fan base wants you to grow at the same time.
Totally.
Because this app is it's like, okay, this app is
For the
too good
users,
of an idea
it's
to
better
fail.
and better.
It's like this app is like it's like the idea is so good, and I want this app to, because I want all my friends on here. Like I want to figure out what they're listening to. I want to get my friends on the new music, because that's been kind of a struggle with me. It's like where like I'm not meeting people who are listening to the same music as I am, and I feel like this app could be a great tool for that. Like, hey, I'm here. Oh, this is what you're listening to. So hey, this is what I'm listening to that you should probably listen to.
Are you going to include a dating app with this?
Yeah.
Or listening to
It's
similar
so funny,
music?
It's so funny you say that. we talk about that a lot. We talk about how like Cymbal kind of could be a dating app. I mean, like people are meeting each other through Cymbal, and I think that like there definitely is. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
so cool.
I
That's
mean,
so cool.
No, I
Gabe-
don't know if it's like
Ashley
strangers.
Madison.
right.
But like there definitely is something to it. I mean, I think that like me personally, I am gonna like someone probably more if they have a similar music taste to me. And I don't know, I think like an amazing integration could be like if you're on Tinder and they're showed their symbol on Tinder.
Yes.
Like that would be so that'd be so useful, I think.
There was this great article I thought in the Consequence of Sound recently that's dating as a music nerd, and I thought it was a really good article, because it's like it's to find people, because when you are meeting people, the definition of music fan is so different depending on person to person. Someone could consider themselves a music fan if they bought Taylor Swift's album and that's it, or like, not that there's anything wrong with that, I'm just saying. And then there's people like us who are on a podcast about music or making an app about music, this is their lives, basically. Like, this is an integral part of their lives.
Well,
so, like, to have this, like, if someone else likes this obscure band that you do, you'll probably get along in some way. And I think that could, like, yeah, I don't even think it needs to be dating, but the social aspect is definitely an interesting.
I'll share a story.
Okay.
Charlotte,
Gabe, I'm so glad you're sharing the story. I'm so happy. I didn't want to blow up your spot.
This story.
You were
didn't wanna blow
about
up
to
your
be
spot,
like,
but
you're
I
about
really
to
was
like
hoping
tell
you
them
would
the
tell it.
story. I know you were gonna say that.
Drum roll.
All right, so I'm not gonna go in depth because it's a long story, but basically, I mean, I think that. So okay, whatever. I am at the office working on Cymbal, and I get all these notifications from this girl, Samantha Sachs. You can look her up on Cymbal. She has great music taste. Liking a lot of my symbols. And like it was like a kind of a joke in the office. I was like, hey, like, who's this girl liking all my symbols? But basically she like emailed me, and then I emailed her back, and then we just like started talking a lot, like mostly about music. Like I would say, I don't know, like 75% about music. Like I think we talked, like, and then I started like Facebook chatting her. This is so embarrassing.
How great is this? How amazing is this?
So great.
Oh,
I feel like the story is too good not to be shared. But anyway, so I like we like talked for like an hour about like the new Tame Impala album, and like this is a random.
How good it is, right?
What?
And how good it is, right?
Yeah, and she's like obsessed with it. Like I've never met anyone more obsessed with a band. But
This is a movie pitch right here.
yeah, it's But I forgot what I was gonna say.
Wait, Gabe. So and then tell him what you guys made together.
Yeah. Okay, so
Babies.
Oh,
Babies.
but what I
Baby
was
Cymbals.
what I was gonna say is that like I don't know. I have no mutual friends with her. She's like from Chicago. Like they're really, it's like pretty much a complete stranger.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like what happened was the craziest part of the story is that like we were talking like a ton, and then like we basically she sent me like a couple songs that she wrote like on GarageBand, and I was listening to it and I was like, oh my god, like this is really good. And so like that really like inspired me to like break out GarageBand, and I used like my friend Jim's recording equipment, and I like recorded a cover of like a Mac DeMarco song, and like just the guitar. But I like felt really good about it. Like I spent like a lot of time on GarageBand doing it, and I sent it to her, and then she like put vocals on it. She like made this cover across the internet, and then I put it on Cymbal.
It's on Cymbal. So if you want to check this song out,
That is amazing. So, oh yeah, what are your guys' symbols?
oh, I should have said.
Are they the same as like your Reddit?
No, I'm at Charlie.
Yeah, and I'm just Gabe.
Oh, you got in early.
That's
Yeah.
I was gonna mention that because I think you retweeted something like the great thing about this app being in its infancy is that you can grab whatever username you want, pretty much. So you can grab just a name, and that's it, and that's incredible.
Totally.
If
Like-
I had known better, I would have just named myself Matt, but I went as Matty Mo.
That's cool though. That's
something
the
else,
thing.
but I'm like,
You can change it if you want.
I can change it to something else, but I'm like, but I've had this name for so long, it's basically a brand at this point, so I can't change it because people know I'm
That's the
Matty
same
Mo on
thing.
here.
That's the same thing for me.
Kind of a big
with,
deal in Cymbal.
I just use the phonetic spelling of my name now, and that like is generally not taken.
But your story actually reminds me of the podcast community, because like I have attempted to. It hasn't worked out.
Wait,
But,
Ethan, we have not met Ethan. We didn't mention that we met each other.
oh yeah, Matty and I met each other for an hour, and we live halfway across the country, but
Wow.
I've met like how many people? 3 people from the
You met,
podcast.
okay, Jeremiah, Sarah, and myself.
Yeah, and like I've met them. I've tried recording music with Jeremiah and Alex. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's kind of, but like, so to these communities that are based on music, like just like because music fans are so. There are shows and DIY communities and whatever, but I feel like music fans are generally very isolated because they're generally nervous people, they're shy people, and so you get they're a bit on the nerdier side. So like you get all these people who are spread out and they don't really want to go out and talk to people, but when that's and because for fear of that they won't like the same music that they do. But when you get these communities like the podcast, the subreddit, or Cymbal, or anything, fuck even Mew or something, like you can find people that are similar to you on these
It's
niche
just the
tastes.
amazingness of the internet, where it's like, you know,
Yeah.
like maybe 10 years ago, my mom was warning me, like, don't talk to strangers on the internet. You know, you don't know who
Right.
they may be. And now, 10 years later, I met someone on the internet. Like,
And my
who I met,
par-
like 9 months ago. What was it? Like 9 months ago? Yeah. So
Wow.
It's just crazy to think about. That, like, 9 months ago, I had no idea who this guy was, and then 9 months later, we're meeting up in a record store in St. Louis and making jokes about Wham's "Make It Big."
Right.
Yeah, if Cymbal could be one of those communities, then it's important. It's not just an app. It's not just an app anymore. It's a community. It's important,
Yeah, that's
I completely agree.
totally.
and I think it's definitely on that path. I hope.
Yeah,
at
I
least.
think back to your question about like how do you feel about people reacting to the app? I think one of my favorite things is that I've seen a lot of people kind of understand like I think Cymbal has a lot of potential, and I think that we are like a baby company right now, and I can see where we could end up in like a year or two from now. And when I hear people say like, oh, like the worst thing about it is, there's not a lot of people on the app, but I think it has a lot of potential. Like that makes me so excited because I I think that people are starting to understand that there is a lack of a music social network, a music community, and that Cymbal has the opportunity to really be that service for people. I don't know. That's what I believe, and that makes me really excited.
I definitely agree. I think you've said this, and I think it would be awesome if the integration of more social aspects, and I think that's what the goal is. Let's go on to the next question. I think the next question makes sense. So basically, the app is still, you said it's a baby. So how do you think you were going to expand it socially? Not socially, I don't know, any aspect. And one thing I do have a question about is monetization, if that's a part of it.
Sure. Well,
yeah, I mean, Charlie, you can go first.
Okay, so I'll answer the second question first.
Okay.
I think that it's like something that people have been asking about asking us about a bunch recently, and I think some people are kind of worried, because they're like, oh man, I'm really enjoying Cymbal. I don't want to like have like those like annoying ads in it or something like that,
Or like the Instagram ads where they're just like Hollister. I'm like, oh god, I don't want to see Hollister.
Instagram. I don't think Instagram does bad ads. I feel like that if anything, that'd be a good idea for Cymbal to kind of take a.
I disagree. I find
they're
Instagram's
not annoying
ads.
because the thing is, you just go through your feed and it's like, oh hey, it's an ad. Okay, whatever.
But
you
then,
can scroll past it.
But
it's not. It's not invasive.
It's not
like it. It just seems like normal image. Like okay, whatever.
It's not intruding, but what it is the content. It's Hollister. It's insert big company here. Like that's what annoys me.
Oh my god, a big name company doing advertising.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm taking it, but I'm just saying that like Cymbal. I feel like it's like you could go on Instagram Smile where you just have a band where you just have their symbol show up. But I think you guys say you don't want to like have that where it's just like bands are on there just for a month and then they leave just to promote their stuff. So it's just kind of like a difficult thing. It's like, well, we have to monetize eventually, but how are we going to go about that? And but still be loyal to our user base, pretty much, and and not treat them like idiots.
Right. So the fascinating thing about Cymbal right now, so I should say to give a little background, is that Cymbal is like a venture-funded company. So we're in the position right now where we don't need to have a monetization because we've already got cash for building the company. But the cool thing about Cymbal is if you look at Cymbal like sort of as a net economic situation, right? Like on the consumer side, on the user side, we're just like a better way of discovering new songs because you're discovering them from your friends rather than from like some algorithm. But on the artist side, right, and on the streaming services side, if you sort of look at the net economic effect of Cymbal, it's more streams for those artists and for those services.
True. And
also like more premium subscriptions, because one of the deals with Spotify is that you can only listen to a full song on a third-party service through Spotify if you have premium. So the cool thing about Cymbal right now is that it's like kind of great for everybody involved, right? It's like it's the artists are getting paid more, the streaming services are getting paid more, the users are having a better experience, kind of like a rising tide lifts all boats type thing.
But you're not getting.
What if I like music but hate capitalism, though? I mean, how does that affect me?
Right.
Like
well,
me.
So this is an important thing, right? So the important thing is to think of, so what is the way that we can create a monetization strategy that maintains that general vibe, the vibe that's kind of like, this is actually good for everybody involved. This is not us forcing something down one side of the equation's throat, because I think that's a really easy way to sort of kill a community. So like there's lots of different things that we could try out. Like Cymbal could be like a super great like analytics tool at a premium level for certain services. It could be like, we could change the way that bands promote their own music, or do publicity. There's all kinds of fascinating stuff we can do, but I don't think we'll do anything before we do a whole lot of testing on them. The thing that we need to make sure we do is roll them out in an experimental way, see what works, see what people like. And then I just think we want to make sure that we never commit to anything that feels like it sullies the experience that I think we're all sort of talking about right now, which is this really kind of fun way to share music with your friends. And on the artist side, for them to release their music directly to their fans. I think that's something that is hard to do elsewhere on the internet, have an audience organized specifically just sharing music. and we want to make sure we kind of preserve those and don't sort of mess up the signal there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the sort of answer to the second part of your question, which is that like monetization will come, but we got to do a lot of testing about what works first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So kind of tying into to expansion. So people have been waiting for a while, like the past few months. It's like, so where's the Android version at? So how's that coming along? I guess this question is more for Gabe. So how is the Android version coming along?
So we've talked a lot about this in the office about really what the best direction is to go in terms of expanding to other platforms. And what we've kind of leaned towards now is that we think web is maybe more important than expanding to Android, just because people do so much of their listening at work and on their desktop computers. And it's important to allow people to use Cymbal during those times, but also if we do web, we kind of give it to the Android community as well, because everyone uses a computer pretty much. So I think that we haven't made a great stride on Android, but we have started and made a very good progress on a web player, and I think that's going to come out before Android, and I think people will be really happy.
Yeah, I think a web would definitely be more important because just the amount of people on the internet compared to an Android device.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that it allows us, I mean, obviously it's not a perfect solution, but in the short term to sort of fix those compatibility questions, So like if you're, on Android, or for that matter, if you're on a BlackBerry, or if you're on a Windows phone, or if you don't have a smartphone at all, then you'll be able to use Cymbal. And we want to make sure that that's there, that it's a community that's great for everybody.
I know neither of you are the graphic designers, but I do have one. I'm curious about how like a web design will look, because you have this very iOS, the squares, and an iOS-centric design. So do you have any idea what direction the interface is heading in?
Yeah, I wish that Mario was here to answer this question.
Yeah, if you don't have an answer,
that's his like bread and butter. But I've seen, and we've all seen what the initial designs are looking like, and I think it definitely is like, it's a serious challenge, and designing for web is so different than designing for an Apple device or an Android device, just because it's mostly because of screen size. Like, when you're designing for an iPhone, you know exactly what you're working with. And when you're designing for web, a browser could be any width. You just have no idea, which is so like, I feel so bad for Mario. But I think it is, it's going to stray away a little bit from like the absolutely white and like clean design of our app. I think just for a good reason, not, not because, it's because of the way the web works, but I think we're going to keep a very, similar design, if that makes sense, we're trying to replicate it, and we're trying to do it in like an elegant way.
Yeah, because one of the things, Instagram's web design I think is awful because it's just a clone of the app, but like you get these other apps that try to do something completely different, so trying to find somewhere in the middle, like sounds like you're trying to do, sounds really good.
Right. Yeah, I think one of the things I've seen, the way we're going to do like search on the web, I'm really excited to see what you guys think about it, because I think it's going to be beautiful. But it's funny you mentioned Instagram, because like we talk about Instagram a lot just because everyone tries to compare us to Instagram. But it's interesting. I think that Instagram purposely makes their web not an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is so strange to say, because you would think that they would try to do everything, to make the best experience possible, but they purposely try to force you onto the phone.
Yep.
And that it all has to do with keeping the user in a very controlled experience, and in a experience where they can take a photo right now, because that's what they want to force the user to do. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes complete sense.
See, that was gonna be.
But I don't think we're gonna do that because I think listening to music on the computer is totally valid and great.
Yeah. So the next question is be about the web version, but we already talked about that. So let's see. So have you guys been working to expand beyond Spotify and SoundCloud?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think that the answer is that like the long-term vision for Cymbal is to be like the universal listening room, you know? Like maybe you have a friend who's on Rdio, you have another friend who's on Apple Music, you have another friend who is on Spotify, somebody who only listens to stuff on Bandcamp, somebody who only listens to stuff on SoundCloud. Like,
I was going to ask about that because I think Bandcamp integration would be very, very important for like because we were mentioning that like it's a tool for new music. Like Bandcamp, that'd be a very good tool for new music.
Bandcamp is awesome. Like I'm in the band and like we use Bandcamp all the time.
What's your band called?
My band's called Millhouse.
Okay.
They were like a teeny little band. Like
I'm still looking you up.
We're like nobody, but we're on Spotify.
Pop punk. I'm excited. I just got your Bandcamp.
Sick. Awesome.
I'm excited.
Tell me if you like it.
I will.
And tell me if you don't like it. Tell me what, no matter what.
Tell me if it sucks.
Tell me if it's garbage. So the point is that like we live in this world now where you can like have the same experience as somebody with the same music and like never be close to them. You know, you could be just in a parallel dimension. And so I think the long-term vision for Cymbal is to be like this place where no matter what your streaming service is, you can like come together and like see what your friends are interested in, see what they're listening to. So I mean, right now we're sticking with Spotify and SoundCloud just mostly because their APIs are amazing. And because a service like Apple Music does not have an open API for us to build on top of yet.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, when we think about where does this company need to go, like what's the community we need to build here, it's compatibility is like it's such an important thing.
Yeah. The Bandcamp, it hurts me to talk about them because they like I want to integrate them so badly, but they don't have an API, and I've emailed the guy who runs Bandcamp and been like, hey, is there any way I could get access to some sort of like private thing? And he just flat response was no. So
wait until a year and then the app grows huge. He's gonna be like, oh damn, I really should have given them the API.
maybe.
Hopefully, yeah. The Bandcamp's awesome. It's awesome. But
is it millhousetheband.bandcamp.com?
I think it's spelled weird. It's Milhaus.
No, that's not him.
Oh, like okay, I know.
Yeah, we had to spell it differently just because there are weirdly other Millhouse bands out there.
I'm not surprised with the amount of bands.
That's him.
Okay, thank you.
I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands that go. I know there's a DC band that goes by Paper House in this HUA or HAUS in the same way.
No way. Crazy.
Yeah. But so I think a good way to end this, if that's where we are, Matty, are we at the end?
Yeah, I think we are at the end. Let's see. Is there any other questions I have? Let's see.
I have a question to end on whenever.
I can't. Yeah. What do you want to end it on, Ethan? Because you're probably doing better than I am with these questions.
I mean, considering how I was doing earlier, that's good. But what now? Like, where does this? What's happening? Soon, later. We didn't really get to the first part of the expansion question. So just like where's it going now? What are the goals, short term and long?
Like what's next? Yeah. Like what are you guys gonna try to put out next?
For sure. So I think that so there's a lot to say there. I think next like real big initiative is kind of like we were talking about earlier. Make this community awesome. Make it like this place where it's perfect for like small and medium-sized artists and bands and blogs and places just where it's like it's a perfect community for music fanatics to come and express themselves and sort of just like be themselves in the way they think about themselves, which is like through the songs that matter most to them at the moment, and just get more and more fantastic people on it. It doesn't matter if those people are are artists that you're interested in, or just like people who love music, regular, random people who love music. It doesn't matter. Just continuing to grow the community into being this place where you can actually find people who love music before anything else. I think from a product standpoint, I think you should definitely look forward to the web player, which is like not crazy far away by any means. And I think in terms of other stuff, we're going to make kind of a fun announcement about CMJ in the next couple of days. So if anybody who's listening, or you guys, who are hosting, are coming to CMJ, are going to be in New York City, like definitely keep your eyes peeled, because we're going to do something kind of cool.
What is CMJ?
Yeah, what's CMJ? I'm like, okay, what's CMJ?
So CMJ stands for the College Music Journal. It is this, and it's in addition to being a net. Yeah,
okay.
You know about this, right?
Yeah, is this the music marathon? Yeah, the music marathon. Okay, yeah.
For sure. So
Okay.
for folks at home who don't know, this is this organization called the College Music Journal, which basically tries to catalog and pay attention to what people in college are listening to. And the thing that they do every year to get a good sense of this is they throw this big multi-day festival all throughout New York City where lots and lots of bands play, and they invite like people from all these different college radio stations down to come check stuff out. And
That's super cool.
It's really fun, and we're so trying to be a part of it in an interesting way. So look out.
Is there anyone you're excited to see at CMJ? I'm looking through the lineup, and it's gigantic.
It's almost hard to even answer that question because there's so many people.
I know.
It's a lot. I think it's trying to be like South by Southwest, sort of,
Yeah. And there was some bands that kind of came out of that. I think, didn't Perfect Pussy play this and become bigger because of it?
Yeah.
I think
for
they were
sure.
one of the success stories of it. Yeah, this is an amazing lineup. I'm just looking through it right now.
But I'll just add on to Charlie there. I think one thing that's cool is that we started Cymbal with a very, very small community, and we had to make it enjoyable to use with 3 of your friends. But now that there is this like budding community on there and people who use it every day, there's all these like potential ideas that are coming up because of the amount of people that are using it. So something like that recommendations tab that is wasn't really possible when we first made the app, because we can't recommend people if there's no one using the app, is now possible. And I think that as time goes on, we're coming up with more and more ideas to really use the community and use the fact that people are really only posting their favorite songs to our benefit. And I think that we're really focusing on social aspects of Cymbal, and it's going to get just better and better as time goes on. And I think that things like meeting people that you would never have met and talking about music with them we're going to make it a lot easier and more enjoyable and just kind of give you that opportunity and present it to you and hope that people are willing to engage,
Hold on. Sorry, I just thought of this. Let's see, direct messaging. Are you guys going to ever integrate that into the app? I feel like that would add to some of the more social aspects of it.
We've talked a lot about it. It's tricky because we're not Facebook really, because you don't friend somebody. So it's a completely open network. It's kind of like Reddit,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tricky. I think that there is a potential for it. But because it's just a completely open community and anyone can message anybody, that involve, there's some complex issues that go along with that.
Yeah, but I agree with you in that I think that one thing people think a lot about is like, oh, I just heard this incredible song. Like, I want my friend to check it out. I want to hear what they have to say about it. So one way people are doing that now is just by tagging each other. But it feels like there should be like a more personal experience with that. So I think it's like it would be totally dope. It would be an awesome thing to have on the app. But as Gabe is saying, there's sort of just like some you got to be careful with it. You got to make sure that the people you can receive messages from are the people that you want to receive messages from.
Yeah.
So But for sure, I think as a concept, it's like an awesome concept.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would use it.
Yeah, I would use it all the time.
So yeah,
I'm excited for the future of Cymbal.
That's
Same.
so cool. Us too. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks so much for having us. This is the first podcast I've ever been on, so it feels nice.
Really
You're doing
cool.
great. You guys
Thank
were
you,
great,
thank
by
you.
the way, on the podcast. But thank you guys for coming. Talking about the app. By the way, Cymbal, please download the app. It is free on the App Store right now on iOS. It's seriously great. It's a great tool for finding music. Great tool to show your friends like, hey, this is what I'm listening to. It's a great place to find people with similar music taste. It's just like it's an app that's like, why now? Like, why was this just made now? This should have been made years ago. But yeah,
So
check out
cool.
Cymbal. Let's
Well,
see. Do we want to give
yeah.
our Cymbal names real quick before we?
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah, but you guys start. I
Um,
guess.
I'm Charlie.
I
I don't know if someone tuned in halfway through the podcast, as people do.
Oh, so-
Right.
So I'm Matty Mo.
I'm Eon997, conveniently enough.
I'm Will for Thrill.
I'm my name, but it's spelled phonetically, so it's like Joe, Joe, Sigh, UH.
So yeah, thanks you guys for listening to the podcast this week. The song of the week is "God Bless the USA," which is the 9/11
Wait.
Dance Footwork Group remix.
No, wait. We did
Whoa,
not
whoa.
agree on this before.
You
No.
guys, wait. Tell me, guys, if you can hear the song.
What?
No.
No,
don't-
Matty, what are you
Song of the
doing?
week this week is
I
"God
want
Bless the
this.
USA."
No.
9/11 Dance
want this.
Footwork Group.
No. The song of the week
Popularized
is
by Mega 64. Hope you guys enjoy this week's
No,
podcast.
I don't-
The song of
This
the week
is
is
anarchy. Anarchy.
The
See
song
you
of the week
guys.
is the new Chromatics track. It's free. It's free on the internet, so I feel okay doing
Nope,
that.
I'm the podcast host.
All
My
gonna
rules is
yell
how it
out our
goes.
song
Bye,
of the
guys.
week.
Say bye, everyone.
Bye.
I refuse.
2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center.
God bless the